I never thought a $50 HOA fine would push me to the edge of losing my mind, or that the same woman who sent it would end up screaming in the middle of the street covered in neon green glitter. But that's how it started, with one package, one lie, and one very bad mistake from the queen of our neighborhood. My name's Michael Prentice. I live in a cookie-cutter suburb called Oak Ridge Heights Lawns, like golf courses, mailboxes perfectly lined up, and a homeowners association that thinks it's the Supreme Court. The head of that empire is Karen Unfiltered, late 50s, blonde helmet hair, always with a clipboard and a smirk that says, "I own you." She polices everything: the shade of your front door, how long your trash cans sit out, even the volume of your wind chimes. It all started when I bought a pair of limited edition sneakers, Cosmic Comets blue and silver, my one little splurge. I left the empty shipping box on the porch for pickup. The real shoes were inside. The next day the box vanished. No big deal, I thought, until I saw her son Grant swaggering around in my shoes. Same scuff mark on the left toe. When I confronted Karen, she just smiled and said, "If it's left on the porch, it's community property." I laughed out loud in disbelief, and she took that as defiance. A week later, I got 3 HOA warnings in the mail hose not coiled mailbox flag extended overnight and hostile attitude toward board. Each one came with a fine. She wanted me to break. At first, I told myself to ignore her. You can't fight crazy with reason. But the fines kept coming. Then came the whispers from neighbors. People who used to wave now avoided eye contact. It was like she'd poisoned the air. I started keeping notes, screenshots, photos. I called it the Hooland file. The next blow came with a package for my nephew's birthday, a giant Lego set. I watched the delivery guy set it down. 10 minutes later, gone. My camera hadn't caught it. The angle missed the porch. That night, I saw Grant stuffing a box into his mom's SUV. I reported it. The cop shrugged. No footage, no proof. I hung up, staring at my blank camera feed, and thought, maybe she's right. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I should just move. That night my wife asked if I was okay. I told her I was done fighting, that I'd just pay the fines, repaint the door, whatever it took for peace. She looked at me and said, "Michael, if you give up now, she wins, not just with you, with everyone she's bullied." That hit something deep. I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I found myself watching a YouTube clip of a glitter bomb prank. That's when the idea clicked. I spent the next week building it, a box rigged with neon green glitter mixed with safe dye, triggered by a spring the moment the lid lifted. A tiny GPS chip hid under the flap. My neighbor Mitch, a retired engineer who'd been fined for off-key wind chimes, helped wire it up. We laughed like teenagers. If karma had a color, he said it'd be green. I set the trap on my porch fake shipping label, and all camera pointed straight. 2 days passed. Nothing. On the third afternoon, Karen herself strutted up the walkway under the excuse of landscape inspection. She scanned around, then picked up the box like a vulture grabbing roadkill. I watched from my window, heart hammering. 10 seconds later, pop. A burst of glitter shot out. She screamed, spinning in circles, glowing like a radioactive Tinkerbell. I had to clamp my hand over my mouth not to laugh. My camera caught everything: the theft, the explosion, her face twisted in horror. But the best part wasn't the video. It was the GPS ping. The box moved straight to a self-storage unit across town. I drove there with Mitch. Through a crack in the door, we saw shelves stacked with dozens of boxes: Amazon, Target, Best Buy. Every one marked with delivery names that weren't hers. My glitter bomb sat in the corner, still glowing faintly. I filmed the whole thing and turned it over to the police. For a moment I thought it was over. The next evening, 2 men in black polos labeled HOA security knocked on my door. One tall one built like a fridge. The big one said, "We need to check your surveillance equipment, HOA violation." I told them to leave. He shoved past me. I stumbled into the gate phone recording. "Touch me again and you're on camera," I said. His fist clenched. The neighbor's porch light flicked on. Henderson, the guy with the wind chimes, was filming too. The goons froze, muttered something, and backed off. That night, shaking, I added the clips to the Hooland file. Threats, trespassing, assault. I stared at the folder and felt that flicker of doubt again. What if she really could take my house? HOA bylaws were murky, and she twisted every rule like a snake. I almost hit delete, but then the ping of a new email popped up from James, one of the quieter board members. He wrote, "Michael, her presidency expired last year. The election was never held. Everything she's done since is invalid." Invalid. That word felt like oxygen. I spent the weekend printing petitions, reading bylaws, and knocking on doors. Turns out half the neighborhood hated her but thought they were alone. By Sunday night, I had signatures from over half the homeowners. We called for a recall meeting. The night of the meeting, the community hall was packed. Karen stood at the front, her face powdered pale to hide what little green tint remained. She started her speech. "We are a community built on respect and compliance." And I cut in. "Respect," I said. "Let's see some." I hooked up my laptop to the projector. The first video played her stealing the package, glitter explosion freezing midair as the room gasped. Then the storage unit footage boxes piled to the ceiling. A collective murmur spread, a mix of laughter and disbelief. I could feel her glare burning through me. "Fake," she shouted. "Edited. He's harassing me." Then the door opened. 2 uniformed officers walked in. One of them, Sergeant Miller, held up a folder. "Karen Hewland, you're under arrest for theft, possession of stolen property, and harassment." Her jaw dropped. She looked around the room for allies. None moved. Grant tried to slip out the side door, but the other cop blocked him. The click of handcuffs echoed louder than any speech she'd ever given. As they led her out, glitter still shimmered faintly in her hair under the fluorescent lights. No one clapped. No one needed to. The silence said everything. Relief, disbelief, maybe a little satisfaction. Afterward, the board dissolved itself. We voted for a new system, transparent, neighbor-run, boring. The best kind of HOA. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt done. I walked home through the quiet street, the same one that used to feel like enemy territory. On my porch, I noticed a single green sparkle stuck to the doorknob. I brushed it away and laughed under my breath. In the end, glitter sticks, especially when it lands on the truth.